Hello and welcome back to Purple Tiger Racing. I'm Steve. This is the HAAS Road to Glory series. Thanks for joining us. In the event you missed last week's race at Bahrain, go check that out. But today, we're at Imola for the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. We're going to see where we can put the two HAAS cars. So, had a pretty decent set of practices. Managed to get the car sorted out. In between getting some upgrades through aero and chassis on and getting a decent setup on the car was much more stable and a much more enjoyable to drive in this race versus how it was at Bahrain. So I tried several different aero configurations to see which one gave me the most control and stability. I tried a 6.8, 7.7, 6.7, and a 6.6. I settled on a 6.7, tweaked air pressures. I think I started off with a setup you can find on F1 2021 game setups. It was either that or off of the time trial. But we're running 6.7 wings. I think that's going to do the trick. We managed to make our way out of Quali 1 into Quali 2. I'm 13th on the grid. Mick wasn't so lucky. You have your usual suspects up at the top. Valtteri got pole. Max. You have Lewis and Sergio, the two Ferraris, the two McLarens, and then it kind of gets spread out. So there we are in 13th. And Mick qualified in 20th. I'm sorry, he qualified in 19th. I thought he was 20th. But
this is our engine supplier's home Grand Prix. Let's give them a race worth watching.
this is like the third or fourth time I tried the race, so I'd already pre-done the strategy. I'm hoping to make either a one-stop or have softs for a safety car. But 5 red lights, and away we go. Managed to get a decent start. I still need to do a little bit more calibration work on my pedals, but I managed a decent start. Managed to stay out of the scrum. Nice little dive bomb on Vettel, but I think I smacked wheels with Sonoda somewhere. And managed to make a... I think I make a move on Gasly down here at the hairpin. And we go back to Mick, and Mick gets brake checked by Latifi, loses his wing. Noticed in this particular, the first few laps of this race, the AI was aggressive as it was stubborn. They didn't want to move off the line, and they were rubber banding, so accelerating or braking. Yuki was very aggressive the first 2 or 3 laps, and you'll see coming up his aggression. So Mick's in for a fresh set of tires and a new wing. And the virtual safety car is still running. And I think
Virtual safety car is ending. Maintain your pace until the green flag.
just as
VSC ending. Wait for
they
green.
clear us, we go green. And smooth sailing. And as you'll notice, as we start lap 3.
DRS is
get
being
our
enabled
DRS
this lap. You can use
enabled.
DRS when you are within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
Caution.
Green flag.
Finish straight. And looks like Latifi is out. I think he made it right across the line and then something happened to his engine. I think I checked in the race director and it was mechanical, so I'm assuming he's got some sort of engine problem. That's not good for Williams. That's 2 races in a row where I think he DNF'd in the first several laps. No, I'm mistaken. Russell DNF'd in the first few laps of last race when he ran into me. I don't think Latifi did all that well, but we're not done. The excitement does not end in lap 3 as Fernando catches his left rear wheel on the curb and it spins him out. I don't think too much goes on here. We go back to the race leaders. It's Valtteri, Max Lewis, and Sergio.
You're in the top 10 now. Keep it up. Gap to teammate behind is 38.9 seconds.
You'll see Vettel is catching me up. And we're going to begin our duel, which can only end in one way, really. I do everything I can to keep him behind me as long as I can.
Our gap to the car in front is 2.1 seconds.
Lock up there. I'm not sure what he did there, but he had plenty of room, so I don't know if he stepped on the brakes or what. And that lockup right there gives him some more time that he didn't have. And I think I make another mistake. And he's going to capitalize on it. And here we have Yuki driving into Pierre. This is going on behind us. I'm not sure what he did there. He just kind of overdrove that corner. And that's the last I can remember seeing of Yuki, because he ends up going into the pits for a wing and a set of tires, and I don't see him for the rest of the race. I think I'm about out of ERS, I'm about out of skill, and there goes Vettel. And I do everything I can to try to keep up with him, but I'm out of ERS, and he has just got a better car, and, you know, I'm about out of excuses. But, yeah, it's pretty hard to keep up with him, and once he got out of DRS, he was gone. And that, me going wide into the gravel doesn't help, although that was a good save. Although I did feel I was making some improvements in this particular race. We're still running 50 AI, but I'm using a wheel, and all the assists are off except for DRS and the 2 pit assists. My biggest issue is not so much that I can't do the DRS or the ERS, but I think I'm going to need to remap my steering wheel, which is the stock steering wheel that came with the Thrustmaster T300 RS. And I'm wondering if I can remap my R2 and L2 buttons for ERS and DRS. Now, I don't think much went on between lap 6 and I think so. Nothing really happens. As you can see, I got a little cushion growing between me and Ocon, and the cushion between me and Vettel is also growing. So I think I ended up just chilling. I was once, I think Vettel makes it around this corner or the next corner or two. He's out of sight, and I don't see anybody for several laps. So I think once he gets out of sight, I end up just driving my own little race. It's actually nice and calm just to be able to... now, mind you, I kept the time frame behind me in my mind, and my goal was to keep Ocon.
The gap to the car ahead is 3.5 seconds. We're leading our teammate
I managed to
by
keep him 3 or 4 seconds away. But I think what we end up doing is skipping. Yeah, we end up skipping up to lap 16. And I somehow managed to... The only reason I'm in first right now is because I'm the last of the soft runners. I've managed to stretch my tires to lap 16. Everybody else has made a pit stop as far as I know. And I'm just waiting to be collected by Bottas, and here he comes. And I think I keep him behind me long enough to safely get into the pits. So I think we're going to see that happen next. Yeah, so I don't hold him up and he gets on with his race. And I go into the pits and managed to make my softs last half the race, which puts us in a good position for mediums and a one-stop. Unless there's a safety car again. Which that was the initial setup that you saw when we first started the race. Soft, medium, soft. There goes my buddy Esteban. Now, I haven't set him up as a rival, but I keep noticing these last 2 races, him and we keep coming together on the track. Not in a bad way. We just seem to be in the same spot. So if they give me the opportunity to set a rival, at least in this series, I believe I'm gonna choose Esteban, because we always seem to be in the same area. So go back to the leaders. Valtteri's leading Max. Now I think right here, right there, I think Valtteri and Max made some sort of contact. I'm going to say Valtteri's wing bumped Max's wheel, or vice versa. Doesn't seem to be affecting him, but remember, we're running simulation damage, so a stiff breeze will damage your wing. So he ends up making it away around the track, no problems, doesn't seem to be losing any speed, doesn't seem to be having any issues controlling the car. But this is going to be the second race in a row for Valtteri, where he ends up going into the pits to pick up another wing. And I looked at the replay footage, and I didn't see any visual damage to his wing. His wing looked intact. So it's got to be some sort of ghost damage. But that's 2 races in a row where a simple... in last race, he bumped me going by. I couldn't get out of his way fast enough, and he dinged his wing on the side of my car, making it a pass, as I was a blue marker. And then he ended up having to come in for a win. But last race, he ended up in 4th and fastest lap. So let's see what he can do this time. And I made that nice little around the outside turn 1 overtake on Ocon. So that was pretty slick. That was last lap, of course. And behind us is Valtteri slowly reeling in everyone in front of him, from Nando to myself. And he makes a couple of really good overtakes here. And then he passes... I think when he goes around Antonio, I think Fernando follows him through. That's coming up here. Yeah. There goes Valtteri, and I believe Fernando follows him through, picks up a position, and Valtteri is gone. And then that only leaves Esteban Ocon in front of Valtteri, between myself and him. And if I had a pit radio going to the Alpine team, I would suggest that he defend like a lion. But I think Esteban is on hards and Valtteri's on fresh mediums, so I don't think that's going to happen. But we'll see. There's our HAAS car, and there's Esteban, and there's Valtteri, and I think about this point I'm about 4 seconds ahead of Valtteri, roughly. It's going for the mid, it doesn't quite make it. Back in my car.
The gap to the car ahead is 3.4 seconds.
And Bottas has passed Ocon. And he's just reeling me in. He's picking up like a 10th or half a 10th. With that lockup, he's basically within DRS. So as soon as we hit the DRS zone, it is on. And I originally thought they put him on hards. So I wasn't too happy with how fast he got up to me and how fast he was able to start making his attack. And then once I watched some of the replay footage, I realized he was on mediums. And I do a fair bit of defending from him. But he's got the best car on the grid, and I got not the best car on the grid. So, and with that mistake right there, going wide, he's on top of me. Goes wide here and over the curbs, doesn't seem to bother him. And I think I went wide here on purpose to let him through because I didn't want to ruin his race anymore. We're not racing Mercedes right now. I'm doing my best to stick it to the Alphas, Williams, and potentially, I think I got a rivalry that I'm going to be in with Esteban Ocon, and that's going to be pretty cool to see that happen. But today we're not racing the Mercedes, the Ferraris, the Red Bulls, or the McLarens. And just like with Vettel, I did everything I could to keep up with him, and the results were fairly the same. And he basically takes off, and I'm in the same situation I was after Vettel passed me. I was pretty much just running my own race, and then Jeff's going to tell me how I picked up a 3-second time penalty. I think the left rear tire went over the green into the yellow on the over the yellow into the green on the curb, and I think that's extending the track limits. So my goal here is
16.4 seconds.
Is to mitigate damage. So unless I can do something, Ocon's gonna go home with 12. And I wasn't too worried about losing the position to him, but I didn't want to lose any further. I didn't want Russell to take my position too. I didn't want to just give it up for free because I had made a mistake. So, since we got 3 laps to go, and we're half a lap up on our fuel,
we will start to see a loss of power.
And I think our tires were in pretty decent shape. I think I started turning it up a little bit. And I was trying to be more precise, but I was also trying to move with a purpose because like I said, if you look at this, so the Ocon and Russell are on hards and I'm on mediums, and my mediums are far fresher than theirs. And as the last few laps wind down, I'm picking up time on Ocon. That's not really my goal. I've kind of accepted the fact that he's getting a free position out of my mistake. But my main concern was to keep Russell outside that 3-second window. So we're just trying to drive clean, precise, and efficiently. And I'm kind of noticing with these cars, and I've never really noticed it watching on Formula One. You can actually drive these cars any way you want. So if you're in a position to chill, you can. Like, had I not screwed up and got my last track limit warning, I wouldn't be pushing like this. And this really isn't pushing, but I would have been driving a little bit more conservative. But I got a time crunch here, and I'm not giving up both those positions. One maybe, but I'm not without a fight. So, and the only fight I have is to drive better. which does not lend itself to when you go wide into the turns. And then, so we're on lap 31, and as we all know what happens at the last 2 laps of the race, the AI turn up their ERS. But I don't think in this case it really mattered due to the difference in tires. If I was on hards, they both might have caught me. But I managed to keep them a safe distance. So, worst case scenario, you might pick up a free position for my mistake, but you weren't beating me on track. Not today. But we got a lap and a half to see what happens. And going wide doesn't help. So we've increased our safety cushion by 0.2 to Russell. I'm not quite there with Ocon, but
there's only 1 lap of fuel remaining.
And I think I turned on my overtake, and I think I actually got a decent.
This is your final lap.
Final lap of the race. We're just gonna run our overtake until we get to probably, I think I turn it off at that liquid molly board. And we've got 1 lap to make this work. Ocon's definitely gonna get it, but it is Russell. Max wins. Half a lap to fix this 3-second window between us and Russell.
The gap to the car ahead is 21.1 seconds.
A little wide for the chicane, but hey, you know, if they're not going to call me out on it, if you're not going to use the whole racetrack, are you even racing? Really? Are you? Nah. So here we go, last 2 corners. We're at 3, a little bit of breathing room. Turn on the overtake. And we end exactly where we began, 13th place. I'll take it. Never been more happy to be in 13th. Lucky number 13.
Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs. And that's allowed them to get the best out of the car.
It was a pretty good race after I settled in and had a good time.
To stay out of trouble.
More practices is
should be pleased with his performance,
becoming more enjoyable.
At the top of the table. Some amazing talents out on the track today. But Anthony,
we got Max, Sergio Lewis in the top 3, Lando, Daniel, and Carlos through 6, Charles, Valtteri, Lance, and Sebastian through top 10.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Red Bull pulled further
13,
ahead of the standings. It was also a strong Grand Prix from
1.8 seconds
Fantastic work
off
from
Valtteri's fastest
to
lap.
move themselves further up the table.
Which is about 1.4
another
off
fantastic
Max.
Weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next
the second fastest lap in the race. So that's not too bad. And we'll take a look and see where Mick ends up. And Mick ended up 18th. He started 19th, so he picked up a position. Just a bad first lap for him. Got brake checked by Latifi. That pretty much was the end of his race. And where are we at in the standings here? So I somehow managed to move up to 14th on the grid, and Mick has unceremoniously dropped to 20th. So we're going to see about getting a couple more upgrades on these cars. And we are not in 10th place anymore. We are 8th.
So that was an exciting race from our perspective.
We're
Let's have yours.
taking our HAAS cars where they don't believe.
You're breaking all expectations.
Belong.
What's your secret? It wasn't the cleanest race today, was it? Appreciate your time.
That about wraps it up for the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in the next one. See you at Portimao. Peace.